Okay, so today I'll be talking about voting. I know a lot of y'all aren't 18 years or older yet, but of those who are 18 years or older, how many of you do you know are registered and have a registration card to vote? Only one, two. Okay. And so this goes along with our need that millennials are underrepresented for how many of us there are. But first, if you do vote, good for you. If you like the way the things are, you can keep it the same. You're represented, you can be heard. But if you don't vote, then you go without a say. You're a percentile who is just okay, green lighting, whatever. The people who do vote want. And those people who do vote are mainly much older and have very, very different interests than you. And so you want to be represented. I'm talking about voting because my interest was piqued with federal government this summer session. And so I looked further into it, and it was a topic that Mr. Robinson had mentioned plenty of times that millennials just didn't participate in. And I wanted to change that. I figured this was the age group to target. So, to preview, everyone has a vote, but not everybody uses it. Under 50% of millennials voted in the 2016 elections. We're a criminally underrepresented group. How to use your voice to vote. I'll be talking about how you can go about voting and making sure that you have a registration card. Even for those of you who aren't 18 yet, I'll make sure you know going into 18 how you could attain it once you are 18. Lastly, the importance of your vote. This is the data of the 2016 voter turnout as well as the previous years presented by the United States Census Bureau in 2016. It addresses the millennial voting gap. As you can see, we are the red line here, 18 to 29. Some of you coming up on 18 will also be considered millennials as well. We are under 40 or 50% representation. Less than half of us care enough to let our voices be heard on things such as abortion, taxes, job, pay, etc. This is bad for several reasons. It's hard to change the way things are when you're not heard. There's something called the incumbency gap, which is supported by Theodore Lansman and the Fair Vote organization, and it's at 3.2%. That means it is hard to beat out the incumbent and evoke change. So to change, you have to go out and vote for that change. To abstain from voting is to greenlight the current policies and the current person in power, because most likely, with the incumbency gap, they will get reelected and things will not change. Luckily, it's easy to change this. It's easy to vote. Once you're 18, you can easily go to votetexas.gov and click register to vote there at the top. It takes less than 10 minutes to fill out this form and print it out with your filled information and get ready to mail it to your voter registrar. I personally did this the other day, and it did take me less than 10 minutes to do. Minors, when you go, assuming you have your driver's license, and if not, when you go to get your 18-year-old driver's license, there's forms at the DMV for you to pick up for voting. You can easily pick up a form and complete it there and go right next door to the voter registrar and turn it in yourself in the same day. According to the 2014 book, The Next America, Paul Taylor discusses just how much impact millennials will be when it comes to voting. In 2024, there is going to be some post-millennials in the voting age range, but millennials and post-millennials, so 18 to about 34, 35 years old at that time, will account for over 50% of those eligible to vote. That means we have a lot of power, but as it stands, with only less than 50% of us voting, we're not using that power. And this is the form that you can complete. And you can see that's the entire form. You can see how that would take less than 10 minutes. So, say you're 18 and you decide not to vote. Your silence is, again, a green light to the current policies. Now let's say the coal lobbyists, which are people who are paid by the coal industry to talk to politicians and influence their mind with gifts and money, convince the politicians to pursue dirty energy through coal and require a certain amount of energy produced by coal. And that goes in direct contrast to the nuclear argument, the wind argument, solar argument, all the other clean energy sources. Let's say those policies go so far as to begin producing a black cloud over Houston, like you see in old-time films, where the ash sears your eyes and it gets into your lungs and your lungs burn. Let's say you can't even see Houston from the miles out that you can when you're going toward town. I much prefer the future where educated millennials decide to vote and use their voice and be heard and strike down corruption like that, and corruption in other places too. But most importantly, you should just represent yourself. When it comes to voting, in conclusion, it's all about your self-interest. You don't want 48% of people your age deciding what's important to you. You should decide what's important to you and vote accordingly. So, in conclusion, we don't vote enough. It's in our best interest to vote, and it's extremely easy to register to vote and get out to vote. So, I ask you all to take action. We all have phones, presumably. I ask that you take out your phone, either now or following the speech, and set a reminder for later tonight to go to votetexas.org and register to vote. It takes less than 10 minutes. You won't regret your time. And if you're not 18 yet, set a reminder for your 18th birthday.